You're listening to The Credit Pros on Real Estate Radio New Jersey with local credit experts Damon DiCrescenzo and attorney Jason Kaplan. Now, here's Jason and Damon.
Welcome back, Jersey. I'm Jason Kaplan here with Damon and our special guest, Jackie Koven. We've been talking a little bit about mortgages and a little bit about your finances if a divorce is coming along, and Damon swears he's not getting one.
And if you're just joining us, we gave out some real-world information on divorce and your credit. But if you have any questions on it, I want you to give us a ring. Our number is 973-771-5118. Again, 973-771-5118. Or on the web at creditrepair.to. Jackie's going to be sticking around with us and having a conversation because, as I talked about in the first segment, we put together a list for our young professionals, and I don't want to alienate New York. Jason always says, welcome, New Jersey. I know my peeps are in New York, and I give a big what up to them. But that's so terrible, what up. Did I say that? So what I'm want to go over with you, and a lot of my friends are young professionals, and I guess you'd categorize yourself a young professional. What? Anyone who's 35 and under is a young professional?
Sure. So
we put together a list of the 10 credit commandments of young professionals. And I like that the reason, I don't think that you can say 10 commandments if the number wasn't 10. We had 9, it was 9 rules, but when we hit the number 10, they became 10 commandments for young professionals. So Jason, why don't you give us our first 10 commandment for young professionals?
Be realistic about the size of your paycheck. Believe it or not, that $50,000 a year job, it may seem like a lot of money when you get $1,500 handed to you. It's not going that far.
No, and when you go get a job offer, they say, well, this job offer, and they sign it and they pass the paper to you across the desk, and it says $50,000. And then when you take out Uncle Sam, particularly if you live in New York, they give it to you good. And so by the time you come home on that express bus, my fellow Staten Islanders, and you just paid $7 to get your butt home, then the paycheck really isn't all that much money.
So just try to watch your finances. It's not that big. It's a big lump sum of money if you're going to a casino, but you have to make it last the entire month. But this kind of moves into the second commandment is the one place you might not want to skimp out on is make sure you do spend on career and business relationships. Look presentable when you go to work. Have extra money so you can go out to have drinks with your colleagues and your boss after work. Because not only is it a good time, but that's how you expand your horizons.
Right. We talk about networking a lot on this show, and I'm a firm believer in doing that. So if you're going to skimp, go get a haircut, first and foremost, like your mother tells you all the time. Go get a haircut, and don't do like I do in the summer. What do I do in the summer? I cut my own hair because I think that I can. And because I know that famous people like Tom Ford do. So I think that I can. But don't skimp on things where people are going to judge you or you have an opportunity to be able to grow your life. If it involves going to get a sandwich with your coworkers 3 times a week, knuckle up and go get the sandwich with your coworkers. Don't bring the tuna salad and eat it at your desk. You have an opportunity to be able to spread your network outside of the Facebook people you don't talk with, like real network, and be able to grow and perhaps grow your career.
Absolutely. Number 3, and we talk about this all the time, but especially for younger individuals, get a credit card. Have at least one. If you're scared you're going to use it, tuck it away for a rainy day. But the age of the items on your credit report account for 15% of your score. You need to have one not only for emergencies, but as the years pass, your credit score is going to increase based upon that relationship open and active with that credit card.
Right. You're a big boy now, right? Go and get a credit card. You need to have some plastic in your pocket. And in the case of an emergency, because believe it or not, an emergency not being a casino, an emergency being an emergency, like you get a flat tire on the way to the casino, you need to be able to fix it. You need to be able to dip into your pocket, and it perhaps is not the cash that you've socked away, but rather use the credit sometimes.
Absolutely. Number 4, try to stay away from store credit cards. The reason is just because their interest rates are very high. They're only good for one particular store. You can't spend them all around the board. A lot of people say it's not good to get them because you're going to have too many accounts, and too many accounts open hurts your credit score. But I don't think that's true. I know it's not true. I'm just concerned about you paying the high interest rates and having a having a drawer full of store cards that you don't use every day.
Yeah, I have another problem with this, and I think that when we were writing this, I was specifically thinking about my wonderful wife, Jessica, who comes home every other day and says, but look, Pure One was giving me an additional 10% off. That is not an excuse to go spend an additional $300 because they're giving you an additional 10% off.
I agree. Jackie, why were you laughing? Do you have a lot of store credit cards?
Oh, yeah. I try to convince my husband that these kind of things are a good idea, too. That's why I was laughing.
And the problem is because I know my wife comes home with the Bloomingdale's bags.
You feel like it's a good opportunity. You got to buy in bulk because you got a good savings.
Right. And they say that, they send you these coupons,
right?
And that the sale ends, emergency sale ends midnight tonight. An extra $5 off. But look, honey, I got an extra $5. The jeans cost $230.
Yeah.
So what, you got $5
And then you also
off.
pay $75 in fees for having the card for the year.
Boom, right there. That's important too.
Number 5, let's set up alerts to track your spending and balances. There's a lot of good internet programs out there. One in particular is mint.com, mint.com. You can set up alerts. When are you spending up to $500 on your credit card for the month? At that point, you got to get cut off. So you can set up spending alerts as well as payment alerts too.
I think that's kind of cool. I don't use mint.com. If you're out there and you use mint.com, if you're listening to this, call me up and explain me because I'm curious about it. I haven't really taken a look at it, and I know, Jason, you have. So I want to hear about it because there's a lot of different tools out there, and really Mint, from what I see, is one that's really coming up in the ranks very quickly. If you're just joining us, this is the Credit Pros. We'd like to speak with you about your credit and finance issues, and we'd like to help you. Please give us a call when you can at 973-771-5118. Again, 973-771-5118, or on the web at creditrepair.to.
Okay, number 6. This one kind of plays off the idea of why it's probably not good to get a lot of store credit cards. You want to start committing to making on-time payments. The more cards you have to pay, the more bills you get in the mail, the more likely you are to not really balance your checkbook accurately or send out the bills when you're supposed to. 30% of your credit score, actually 35% of your credit score, so more than 1/3 is your payment history. A late payment, believe it or not, and Jackie can attest to it, it could stop you from getting a mortgage sometimes.
Yes.
But late payments are just as bad on your credit score-wise as is a collection, as is a paid collection. They all are considered major derogatory, so they completely impact your score, both on underwriting with getting a loan with Jackie, as well as just hurting your score because you paid something late.
So when I was young, and I guess I'm still young, but when I was a young professional, I think that this was the one thing that I had the biggest difficulty with. And if you think back 15 years ago when I started my first business, maybe it was longer than that now, they didn't really have the suite of tools that they have now. And I had my really big checkbook, because the bigger the checkbook, the bigger the bank account, I used to think. And I used to handwrite my checks, and, I always missed something. I used to find it very, very difficult to manage paying all of my bills on time. And I was a victim of having too many bills. I had too many credit cards, and something always fell through the cracks. Nowadays, with all of the resources that are available to you, young professional, there is no reason for you to miss payments, whether it be automatic bill pay or anything else. The options are there to be able to use them. Don't miss payments.
Well, absolutely. That brings me to number 7, because the problem is, and it's not necessarily a problem because technology is advancing, but every card company has a certain bill payment tool, pay automatically through your credit card or through your checking account on this day and that day. You know what? I'm of the belief that if you use seven different platforms and software, it's more likely you're going to make a mistake.
Yeah, something's going to get lost.
Something's going to get lost. I would say choose one tool. There's a ton of different bill pay softwares, and sign up all of your cards and all of your bills on that one platform. Don't do one for Visa, one for MasterCard, one for American Express. Get them all linked up together on the same platform.
Yeah, and along those lines too, young professionals, think about me personally, and I can't speak about everybody, but I like tangible statements in my hands. I like when they mail it to me and I get it and I open it and I look at it. So now all these companies are saying, well, we'll send you e-statements, save a tree. Or we'll give you 50 cents off your statement if we can just email it to you. Obviously, because they don't have to throw postage on it and print the paper. But the problem is a lot of people delete their inbox very, very quickly, and oftentimes those things can go over by the wayside. I like to get them. I like to open it, put them in a pile, look at it, and write on it. We talked about this last time, too. Write on it when you make your payment. Write the day that you made your payment. Write the day that you mailed it, and write the amount that you sent to them, because very often they can say, hey, we didn't get it, or we got the wrong amount, and then it causes a little bit of a problem.
Listen, my math skills aren't the best, and Damon had to show me how to use it, but I use QuickBooks. And there's memorized transaction lists, so it automatically puts the check in. It balances it for you.
Right.
And as long as you can feed the check into the printer, it automatically prints them out for you.
These tools are available at your disposal. And if you're not using technology, the problem, young professionals, I think that you get a little bit too used to having these things at your disposal and get very used to it. And especially if you're just coming out of a home where your parents do a lot of this stuff for you. There are a lot of different options to use. You need to put best foot forward and use these so you don't run into problems. Awesome information. Fantastic. So we're running out of time here, and I want to go to the phones. There's a lot of people on the calls today, so let's go to the phones. What do we have?
Hi, this is Lisa from Berkeley Heights.
What's your question this wonderful Sunday morning?
Well, I don't know if it's a question. Oh, I guess it is a question. I am in a house, and right now I'm at 6.5%. And I'm already 5 years into my loan, and I don't really know if it's a good time to refinance. I know rates are low, but everyone's worried about credit and all that sort of stuff. So what do you do in my position?
What I do is I pass the buck to the mortgage expert, Jackie. Jackie, what do you think about it?
You should always be in touch with your loan specialist every 6 months or so. Basically, what we would do is we would take a free analysis and take a look at if we could save you any money in the short term and or the long term. Maybe we could save you money monthly right now, or maybe we could shorten your term and save you money over the length of your loan.
Wow. So what would I do? I mean, would I just call the person who my loan is with right now?
If you wanted to call me specifically, I could take a look at all your details and give you a more definite answer. But without knowing all the possibilities of your scenario, then it's hard for me to discuss that.
So basically, just because I have my loan with someone now doesn't mean I have to stick with them if someone can do something better for me.
No, absolutely not.
Okay, that's cool. Now, let me ask you a question before you hang up on me. Is there a way I can get your information?
Sure. Are you ready?
Yep.
Okay, my phone number is 732
Okay.
300
Okay.
7452. And my email is jkoven@emmloans.com.
Well, can you just repeat the address again, the last part, not your name? The loans part. I just missed the email address.
At emmloans, LOANS.com.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank
I appreciate it.
Thanks for listening.
Taking my call.
Thanks for calling.
All right, bye.
Thanks.
Now, time for what they don't want you to know.
So one of the things I wanted to talk about on this week, what they don't want you to know. What they don't want you to know is who? The banks. A lot of times what they don't want you to know is your creditors, the credit card companies, things that they use to pull the wool over your eyes, to take your money out of the bank, out of your pocket. What we're trying to do is get you some good information. And Jackie and I were speaking during the break, and I wanted to just bring up the idea of an amortization schedule. I want to define it. I want to be specific about what you, my listener, needs to know about what an amortization schedule is. So, Jackie, what can we say about, just quickly, what is an amortization schedule when a mortgage broker says it?
It just shows you how you're going to pay the loan off, whether it be in the 30-year term or the 15-year term, whatever you have. It shows you how much money is allocated toward principal versus interest monthly.
That's where I want to stay. So I've seen mortgage brokers in the past, and this is why it really pays to use someone experienced and knowledgeable, because your mortgage broker should take a minute to explain to you how much of the payments that you're making are not going towards the principal, meaning the equity to pay down the true amount that you borrow. Majority of the payments in the beginning, particularly on your loan, are going to what?
The interest.
That's right.
Especially on a 30-year loan.
Exactly right. And so, if you're speaking with a mortgage professional who says, oh, we can go into this loan, you'll have a ton of equity by the time we're done because of appreciation, perhaps that may not be the truth. They should be disclosing to you specifically and completely how much your payment is going to interest to the bank and how much is going to pay down the loan that you're borrowing that number changes on a monthly basis because that number flips over the life of the loan. But it's important that you're absolutely aware of it because a lot of people aren't. And again, why it boils down to working with a real mortgage professional. And Jackie, I'm going to throw you a number here. Hopefully they'll give you a ring because it makes sense to use somebody who's licensed. Jackie Koven, EMMloans.com. Her phone number is 732-300-7452. Again, 732-300-7452. All right, so no more wasted time. What we want to do is dive right back into the Young Professional Commandments. Throw them some real information, Jason. What do we have?
Number 10, buy a reliable car, not a fancy car. Everyone loves the nice car that they drive around in. It makes everyone feel better about themselves. But the truth of the matter is, $400 a month is not $400 a month. It's actually $400 times 36 and 48. It equals a lot of money.
And your insurance payment's higher on a Lexus than it is perhaps on a, Hyundai.
Or higher if you're a red car rather than a black car.
Is that right?
Absolutely. They charge more insurance money if you have a red car.
Or higher if you have bad credit, as far as your insurance goes anyway.
That's correct. That's correct also.
So this is important, and we're wrapping up here this week, but take this away. You don't need a beautiful car. You're a beautiful person, and you're handsome, and you're special. So make sure that you look in the mirror and know that. And if you need someone to tell you, I'm happy to be here to tell you.
And you know what else happens? And I've made these mistakes before. You want the GPS and you want the CD player and everything, and you look at it and they say, okay, cool, $10 more a month, $25 more a month. But when you multiply that out by the 36 months you're financing, you're paying thousands of dollars for a stereo system and thousands of dollars for a GPS. Something's just not worth it. It's going to be overvalued.
If you want someone to tell you that you're good enough and handsome, then call us at the Credit Pros because Jason or myself will be happy to tell you that. And we have mirrors in our office too if you want to come and look at yourself. And you don't need a special car to do that. I'm telling you.
Definitely not. One more thing, and I made this mistake. When I was a freshman in college, I went to, it wasn't even Best Buy. I don't think Best Buy was around back then. But I went to whatever the local stereo store was, and it was 0%.
Crazy Eddie's.
If I know, Crazy Eddie's. It definitely wasn't Crazy Eddie's, but Crazy Eddie's. And it was 0% interest on the electronics as long as you qualify. You don't have to start repaying it for 2 years. And I went out and I decked out my dorm room. I'm telling you, I had probably a 20 square foot dorm room, and it had a TV that was at least 50 inches. And it was one of those big TVs back in the day. They weren't flat screen, so basically half the room was taken up with the television. Great, watched a lot of movies, had fun with it. 2 years later, I was paying back $2,000, which I did not have, couldn't afford to pay back. Be careful of those special rates, 0% interest, things like that. It'll definitely strap you and get you in trouble. Everyone makes a mistake, not just freshmen in college.
Okay, well, I'm sorry to say we've come to another end of the Credit Pros, but we want you to know that we're here to speak with you. I want to take a second to thank our guest, Jackie Koven, mortgage loan specialist. Definitely rocks. Pick up the phone and give her a ring, 732-300-7452. The Credit Pros on Real Estate Radio is happy to help you with your credit and finance problems. Give us a call, 973-771-5118. Mr. Kaplan, thank you. Mike the Board Up, thank you. We will see you all next week.
And if you want to give us a call and you say the magic words of Damon, am I good looking enough, we'll waive your setup fee.
How about that? See you next week.
For all your credit problems, concerns, or questions, call the show's off-air number at 973-771-5118 and speak to the hosts of the show, Damon DiCrescenzo and attorney Jason Kaplan, directly. 973-771-5118. This program is brought to you by the Real Estate Radio Network. Visit realestateradio.us for more info. That's realestateradio.us. For all your credit problems, concerns, or questions, call the show's off-air number at 973-771-5118 and speak to the hosts of the show, Damon DiCrescenzo and attorney Jason Kaplan, directly. 973-771-5118. The preceding program was paid for by Real Estate Radio Network. The hosts are not an employee of WMTR or its parent company, Greater Media. The views and opinions expressed on the Credit Pros on Real Estate Radio New Jersey are not necessarily those of the staff and management of WMTR. Station management has not investigated the claims made in financial service spots that may air during this program. As always, it is advisable to consult a professional before making a major financial decision.